Have you ever found yourself chasing that perfect sound, something between texture and tone, digital precision, well, raw atmosphere? Yes, we've all been there, and today I think I have found a synth that speaks that exact language, but not in a traditional dialect. This is not your average FM synth. This is not just another granular texture machine. This is Tetrad. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're into ambient, cinematic, experimental or electronic music, you're going to want to lean in for this one, because today we're diving deep into a brand new soft synth called Tetrad from the minds at Physical Audio, the same team responsible for some really forward-thinking audio tools. This one's kind of special, and not just in a sounds cool kind of way. It's a sculptural experience. Absolutely, literally, because it's inspired by installation by Gadi Sassoon. And if you've heard his album Modes of Vibratio, you know we're talking pure sound art meets sort of like digital science fiction. So let's talk FM and granular synthesis for a second, because FM, or frequency modulation, is all about movement. Those sort of like metallic, bell-like tones, modulating one wave with another. It's been around forever, but it's notoriously tricky to tame actually. And granular synthesis, on the other hand, is all about texture, slicing and stretching audio into tiny grains, turning simple sound into wild sonic clouds. So now imagine blending these two worlds, not just layering them, just actually blending them, not choosing between them, but actually creating a fusion where the modulation of frequency and the grain-based scattering of time work together in real time. Is like shaping digital clay in surround sound. What Tetrad does is take those synthesis engines and channel them through performance-based, visually intuitive interface. The result is something that feels less like programming and more like sculpting with sound. And it's designed not just for synth nerds, but composers, people scoring films, crafting game atmospheres, or creating immersive ambient pieces that need to evolve and breathe. There's this unpredictability to it, a beautiful chaos, but also incredible control when you want it. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take you through the features, the sound, and how this synth feels in real use, and whether you're scoring a sci-fi short, building a generative ambient patch, or just trying to get inspired on a rainy Tuesday night. And hey, if this kind of sonic exploration speaks to you, please consider subscribing. I cover the tools that inspire ambient and cinematic music creators to push boundaries, and I'd love to have you in the community. Let's take a listen to Tetrad. got these like glitchy effects, these, which are great for backdrops in ambient music. Cool little sequence there. I think that's a Richard Devine or Divine. Looking at signature there, Richard D. It's a nice, interesting glitchy beat, that. Let's go into more melodic territory now. Let's go Gentle Staggering Cloud. Got a couple of MPE presets there. I'm not going to play them because this controller isn't an MPE one, but if you do have one, you know, experiment with those. Let's go for Acid Bell. So if you want to make it more melodic, if you just go to the basic oscillator, just change it. Alright, change the sound slightly, but makes it more pitch, sort of like more of a pitch type instrument. So dark energy. That's just some of the sounds, and they are on the experimental side. But please do stick with me, because when we go through the interface, things start changing, and you'll start to understand the sort of power of the sound design potential for this instrument, which we're going to go into now. We're just going to have a look at the interface next. So what we're going to do here is try and record this sort of. What we're going to do here is try and create a sound as I take you on a tour through this interface. First of all, we've got the default sound. Bit off-putting, all that warbling, the movement, so I'm just going to turn that down. So we've got a bog standard sound. This macro here allows you to, macro screen allows you to turn this into a pad using the ADSR envelope. So we do that, and we put some release on. Just going to trim the output a bit. You can add some FM. Just want a touch of FM here. We can then go into these quad mode for the oscillator, and on here we allows us on the basic to tune them. So I can turn that down a semitone, turn that one up a semitone. And what happens here is, if you think about the signal flowing list, it starts in the top left, comes down, goes across the bottom, goes up. So it's like a U. And what happens is, if you see these dotted lines, these tell you where these oscillators go. So oscillator 1 goes into this 4 before matrix. So this row is oscillator 1, that row is oscillator 2, 3, 4. And then that row comes out into the filter. So they all come out into the filter, basically. That's what is happening here. And what I can do, what I'll show you, first of all, I'll continue with these oscillators, called oscillators, because you can do some crazy stuff with this free one. So that doesn't sound too bad. Starting to drift a bit now. Now what I want to do is change that 10 to 1200. And turn that to 100. So you can start going microtonal, which is quite interesting. We have this flex. And then we can go into chord mode. Basically, if I press a note, it will play a chord. So let's go for minor. We'll take it in root position and we will drop 3. And which is handy, because that means no matter what note you press on the keyboard here, you will get something that's in that key. And then we can go into modal, which does the same thing, but allows you to use modes. So you can change your key, you can change your mode, you can change your voicing. So there's a lot of flexibility to have with this quad oscillator. I'm just going to go back to basic for now. I'm going to bring on the filter. Hopefully it won't pop again. There we go. So basically what this means now is bus 3 is coming into this frequency here. I want to change the resonance on this one, so I'm going to up that. So that's nice. I'm going to just turn the volume down a bit. Sorry about that. Just turn the screen off. And we'll bring it back. There we go. We are now going to go into Quad AM, which allows us to do some fun things with the absolute phase of stuff. So it gets that nice pulsing effect now. And I can sync it to tempo if you so wish. Then you can put on another filter if you want. We're not going to for this particular example. And we're going to a quad granulator. So we've got 4. So these 4 oscillators are coming down. These are then going to here, which then allows us to change the grains for each one. So I want to, we'll increase that and pitch these up. I want to pitch them up in semitones. A smaller grain size, pitch it down. So nothing an awful lot's going to happen at the moment because I've not engaged it. I need to change the dry wet mix. Can randomize it all. We can then put that through another filter. So we've got 3 filters in series here, and then it goes into the quad plates, which are these graphics here, and we can mess around with these as well. So we can add a little bit more drive onto plate 2. Change the decay so it's shorter, make the decay even longer on plate 3, and cut the drive off a bit. So we have this sound. And then you can play around with the soundstage up here, so I can send plates, one of the plates to, well, 2 plates to one side, 2 plates to the other side, and we have a wide sound now. But that's not all, because what we can do now is go into Mod Matrix, and we have a Mod Matrix here that allows you to modulate literally anything within this instrument. So I can change, let's go for AM depth with LFO1, let's do something simple. And I'm going to use the area sound envelope, change the rate, change the phase, change the shape a little bit. Just that'll do. Sample and hold. So you get the idea of what power there is for sound design with this. I could just go on modulating different things. And you get some really interesting sounds the more you play with it. Now, obviously, this sound I've created is not going to set the world alight, but it just gives you a feel of what the controls can do on this amazing concept of mixing FM and granular, which is, it works. It's very interesting. Before we just get into this, I just wanted to explain this composition. That you'll see this blank channel here, there's absolutely nothing on it. That's because you can side chain a sound to Tetrad. I'll just bring the interface up here. So you can side chain the audio from another channel. And what I've done, I've taken the subtle magic signs and I've side chained it, go into here, into this plugin. So it acts as an effect as well. So without further ado, let's hear a little ambient electronica piece using just the sounds from Tetrad. after spending some quality time with Tetrad, I have to say this synth doesn't just add to your toolkit, it kind of reshapes it because it challenges how you think about sound design and, more importantly, how you interact with your own creativity. This synth is not just a preset machine either, it's not trying to be a retro clone or a hardware emulator. Tetrad is for people who want to explore, whether you're working in film, games, sound art or ambient albums that drip with nuance. This instrument gives you a place to start and a million directions to go. From the FM-driven synth to the granular shimmer to how easily you can morph between worlds with just a couple of gestures, it's one of those rare plugins that genuinely invites you to play with it. And let's not forget, it was inspired by literal sculpture, which explains why it feels so tactile. Sound design becomes performance, performance becomes discovery. And before you know it, you've gone down a little rabbit hole that takes ages to come away from. Because I found myself creating patches that felt sort of alive, some dark and eerie, some glistening and hopeful, but so very much in the ambient electronic world, very much where my music sits, and that's what makes me hit record and start writing. So if you're curious to dive into this world yourself, go and check out Tetrad via the link below. Let me know in the comments what you think. And if you end up making something magical with it, share it. I love hearing your sounds. And of course, if you enjoyed this deep dive, do hit that like button, tap subscribe and ring that little bell. It helps more than you know, and it keeps this beautiful experimental music community growing. I'd like to thank Physical Audio and Loot Audio for sending Tetrad over for a review. It is very much appreciated. And until next time, stay creative, stay sonic. Catch you in the next one.